Let's dive into Meteora with liquidity farming with specifically DLMM pools. So we're here at app.meteora.ag, and if you've never been here before, and if you want to know if it's the correct website, just go to welcome.dupe.ag, click get started, and just scroll right down to the bottom where it says explore Solana apps, and then you can find all the correct links right here, like Meteora, meteora.ag of course, go to app, and you know you're at the correct website. I've already connected my wallet and I'm clicking on DLMM. DLMM is Dynamic Liquidity Market Making, and this gives you a lot more freedom when it comes to actually placing liquidity, but it is far more advanced, maybe intermediate to advanced. In two previous tutorials, we went over dynamic pools. Now we're doing this one. I'm going to search for WIF, and we're going to find a pool with WIF and SOL. So we'll click on this one, and what we want to see is the amount of TVL, the volume, and also the return over the last 24 hours. So you can see this is 0.16%, this is 0.67%. So this is a much lower fee, which is great, it's fine. However, it didn't actually get as much in terms of yield as this one. Then this pool here with a higher fee, for some reason, didn't do as well as this liquidity pool. There's actually quite a few different things that go into all of this, but we'll just keep it quite basic. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip all these pools with low liquidity, and we'll actually go into this one here. It's earned decent fees, it's got decent volume, and this looks good. If we take 0.67% and we times it by 365, that would be the annual rate. Of course, it can go up or down from there though. So we'll click on this, and then just to get started, I don't want to go into too many complex things. We can see there is a dynamic fee here. It can go up all the way to 10%. And the amount generated is $220 over the last 24 hours. So if we get out the trusty calculator, and if we take 220 and we times it by 365, and then we divide that by 32,661 approximately, times by 100, this liquidity pool is currently earning around 245% per year. We should get a pretty similar amount if we just times 0.67 times 365, and we get a similar amount. So what I want to do is I want to add a position. There's three different ways you can add a position. We can add some WIF and some SOL. As an example, clicking on half, it's going to add a certain amount of WIF and a certain amount of SOL. This is spot. Here we have different bins. So a bin's kind of like a liquidity pool, and there's a certain amount of SOL in each one over here, and there's a certain amount of WIF over here. So we put SOL in all these different prices, starting from the current price to the lowest price, and we put WIF in all these different bins over here. If WIF price goes higher, we're going to sell the WIF and we're going to get more SOL. If the WIF price goes lower, we're going to buy the WIF and then we'll have WIF here. And then the WIF will be part of the liquidity bin here and it'll be used for buying and selling. The reason why there's only 69 bins is just because that's the most that the blockchain can handle with the current coding. Over here, we've got a bin step 80. 80 is quite common. It's just a difference between this amount and this amount. So the first option is spot. We also have curve. If we want to try and concentrate the amount of buying and selling that's happening in this very narrow range, the majority of our liquidity will be put in here. If we wanted to concentrate it even further, we could just do like this and do like this. We can do something similar, of course, with spot, just put all of our liquidity into just a very narrow band. However, if the price goes up too much or down too much, we'd have to rearrange the band. Our final option is bid and ask. I'm going to zoom this out back out to the full number of bins. Bid and ask is a good system. If the price starts to get really low, that's where you start to deploy more Solana to buy more WIF. And if the price gets really high, comparatively to the current price, of course, then you start to sell more of your WIF. Whereas here, you're not doing a lot of buying and selling because you haven't put too much liquidity into this range. So as an example, in this first bin, we've got 0.1 WIF, not very much. Whereas up the top here, it's 0.6. So it's 6 times as much. Of course, we're not even playing with a lot of WIF, but we can go and compare it here, 0.2, and up here is 1.2. It tells you the volatility strategy right here, the bid ask, curve, what it's ideal for, and spot, what it's ideal for. Now, just so you get a hang initially in this tutorial, we're not going to change too much. I'm going to lower the bins here. I'm going to put it all in spot. We'll click add liquidity, then we'll paste in our password, unlock the wallet, and we'll approve. Before we approve though, you'll see it says 0.42 SOL, but we're approving 0.48 SOL. That's because 0.06 SOL is used to actually open the position. When we close the position, we get that refunded. Our position has been added, so let's give it a refresh. And if we don't see it immediately on the UI, we can refresh the entire page. but it just came up just then, and this is our price range. Now we're currently in a price range where whenever there's buying or selling, we're going to start to see our unclaimed swap fee is not much, 0.25%. So we want to try and get quite a bit of volume through our liquidity pool, and then this will go up and up. Remember, as soon as we go out of this range, we'll have to change the position. And we can, of course, have multiple different positions. Now we have one position. Let's go and add another position. This time I want to actually try and capture some whiff if the price goes down. So obviously I can go and set a limit order with Jupiter, but maybe I'd prefer to capture it at a lower range if it does go down and then generate some trading fees on it. So we'll go with 0.2 Sol. I've turned off autofill because I don't either want to add any whiff or I don't have any whiff to add. I'm going to go with bid and ask. So I'm not going to spend too much Sol at this point, but if it goes lower, I will be spending more. We'll add liquidity and then approve. And now we've got this liquidity here. So we'll do a little bit of buying and selling in this range every time there's a swap, but the price will have to go all the way down here for us to do more of the buying and selling. So that's a quick overview of how to use DLMM pools with Meteora. We'll cover this with quite a few tutorials because it is quite complex, but it's definitely worth learning if you're into DeFi. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch the next tutorials.